for most things. And we're going to play normal difficulty, because why not? The Insta quality options, alright. We did it, Reddit. Alright, so you can start time now. We can skip the majority of the cutscenes. There's some spots in the game where it sticks us in an endgame cutscene that we can't really get around.
About 30 years ago.
But for the most part, we can get around that kind of
Billy
stuff.
was hiding out in an abandoned farm near Stinking Springs.
Alright, so this is called the Juarez. It is 100% historically accurate. So you have a history test over the Old West.
But before
I'm going to help you out.
I want that son of a bitch dead. Let me tell you what happened that day. I was heading back to the hideout when suddenly I had this
funny haha.
No, Steve.
So you're going to notice I load my weapons very fast. There's a perk in New Game Plus that if you spam the reload key, you go faster. And so I just stuck it on a mouse wheel. And you can reload pretty fast that way. Another perk we get is this one where it marks the enemies and gives us basically auto-aim headshots 24/7.
Not a bad idea. It would be a turkey shoot.
So we're going to get up here and reload the game. We're just going to skip some dialogue.
Then I heard a friendly voice yelling at me from the window. Back door!
Can you go back here and kill this guy? Hello? Alright, thank you. You're dead. So if you're waiting for a game that featured shots being fired, this is the game for you. You will be firing all the shots.
None the worse for wear.
So I'm going to... I showed you a little bit of how we do it in the speedrun. I'm going to show you a little bit of how a casual player would play this game. Then we're going to go right back into the speedrun stuff. So this is Billy the Kid. This is about the only time we ever see him.
Said, "About time, amigo. Grab a gun and get to the window."
Wait, so you were friends with Billy the Kid?
Yeah, sort of.
So you could take this rifle and just start doing some hard scoping. And this is kind of fun, I guess. And yeah, or you can switch the pistols and just start blasting everything that moves.
I'm telling you, Garrett's men were dropping like flies, but they just kept on coming.
After we kill so many of these, we can switch over here. Oh, there we go. Oh. So you may notice in the top left there's a pistol that kind of burns down and fills up. That is our concentration meter. That's what allows me to use special perks like slow-mo headshot stuff. So it's not good that I just burned it. It's not really a big deal. Get it back pretty fast. And this is why we use New Game Plus, because we get all these special perks unlocked already. It takes about 2.5 playthroughs to get everything. We pretty much use all the endgame perks at some point. Also, I'm burning it again. Need to kill one guy to activate this. Alright, he's dead. Cool.
It was pretty clear, even to Billy. Maybe to
some enemies like to hide a lot. It's not cool.
It means that it was time to cut and run.
We use the double pistols a lot, but once we can get double shotguns, that's what we're going to use.
I'll draw their attention. Who directed that order is me. And I thought, why the hell do I have to do it? Many would have fled in my place. But I had that false sense of invincibility that many young men have. Like Jack here.
What are you saying, old man?
Jack is just joshing with you.
Yeah, he better be.
So another aspect of this game is the duel mechanic, which we'll see here in just a moment.
Silas, ma'am.
So I think at the end of every level, there might be one level where you don't do it.
And that's when I met.
You have to go through these
Sheriff
duels,
Pat Garrett.
and you have to
went toe to toe with him, sir.
you have to master the art of focusing on both your hands. One controls speed, and the other one controls your aim. And certain duels, you have to have just enough speed and just enough aim. Otherwise, you pretty much can't do it at all. So with a left hand on keyboard, we're going to control the speed by putting our hand right above the gun. With the right hand, we're going to control the mouse and aim
You read that
on the
in
enemy.
a dime novel?
Typically, you
It
need
said
at
he
least
showed
80 and
no fears.
80.
He took your measure with
You'll see him
eyes
count
like
up.
a rattlesnake.
And as soon as you hear their heartbeat, you can start shooting. If you wait longer, you get more points, but... Alright, so we're going to put our hand right above the gun. See if we can get a good one here. It's not bad so far. Oop, my aim is off. That's pretty good. Right in the face.
And
There we
he
go.
killed him in a fair fight.
Is that what that Penny Dreadful said? No, boy. That ain't what I meant when I said I met Pat Garrett. So let me start again. I finally reached those damn stables. I stepped inside, and...
So you guys will see him in chat,
Last thing I
Judgy
heard was
underscore.
Garrett's voice.
Shoutouts to him.
That's
He's the one that got me into
not
running this game, and he currently holds
And
the record.
go on.
But
How
as soon
did
as I
it
get to
end?
run this,
And-
some more,
Boy,
I'll have it
that
back.
was
Or
just
I'll
the
have it.
beginning.
So what happened? Did
Skip this little cutscene of him just introducing the next section. So all the plot of this game is
It's
you play
important
Silas
to know
Greaves, a
that I
bounty
was only
hunter
riding with
who
Billy
is
so I could find the bastard
wandered
I
into a
was
bar
after.
and is telling these stories about how he hunted down the man that killed his brothers.
He was with
And,
John Kinney's
these are all
gang,
the tales.
and they were sworn enemies of Billy's regulators.
why were you after him?
I owed that son of a bitch a bullet for what he had done to me and mine.
So we just have to kind of wait until we get
all
some
I got
keys.
for myself was a goddamn death sentence.
The first few missions introduce a lot of the mechanics and the different weapons. Once we get past this one and
He shot Jim Bell and
the
a few
first
other
half of
guards
Mission
as he made
3,
his getaway.
it's a lot of run and gun.
Later, they wrote
We
that
will
some
be
lady
firing all the
friend
shots
planted a
off. Pew
pistol
pew
for
pew
him in the
pew.
privy.
Pew pew.
What the papers didn't say is that Billy helped me escape too.
There's the keys. Grab this. Open the
My
door.
first order of business was finding a firearm. Luckily, I located Deputy Bob Ollinger's mean-ass shotgun.
The only cutscene for a weapon in the game. We're gonna use it for all of like 2 seconds.
I saw Billy through the window, and he yelled that I should take to the rooftop.
Yeah, whoever
to
set
make
up
my
the
escape.
speedrun.com page for
So
this
I
did
did.
all the ILs, and then you go into the listing on the side.
Hell yeah!
It has the actual
That
full game
gun
run.
was like a double-barreled howitzer. It could blow a man clear off his feet. You hardly
So
had
at this
to
point I
aim
switch
at
back
that.
to my pistols.
Guards were everywhere
Reload
looking
them.
for me. I had to jump from roof to roof like a damn alley cat. I followed the planks where I could, but
We're gonna get up here and reload a checkpoint so we can skip
some
to
of
the
that wood
dialogue.
was slippery as hell.
So that bastard you were after.
You're gonna be seeing that quite a bit. It saves a lot of time. Otherwise, you sit through these little slow down animations. That is painful.
But hell, if they weren't
Really,
all
any
waiting
weapon here will do. I just prefer the pistols. There are certain sections where you need either the shotgun or like the rifle to really be effective.
See, me and the kid shared a certain similarity in build and color. I was just glad I had Deputy Bob's mean-ass shotgun.
Get your headstone! Don't let him
So much lead
It is
was
faster
by
to
my head.
fail
It was
a
like
lot of these
everyone in Lincoln
and
was
just
laying
headshot
around.
everybody.
I knew I needed to find a horse.
I'm generally pretty bad at doing that,
So
so
I never did
just
have a great fondness for those
go through the quick
four-legged
time events.
grass eaters.
So we're gonna run up here and do another reload, which saves a lot of time. Dialogues get queued up when you go really fast. Also, some slopes really do not want you to jump on them. So I took out a few enemies so I don't die, because I'm running up this way.
I found what I was looking for. The stables on the edge of town.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Well, sure he did. Dispatched him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir. Because Bob came right up behind me, angry as hell that Billy had lit out. Hello, Bob, I said. I think you better let me go.
So Bob's a pretty
And
easy
he
kill.
says, I don't
We don't
think
start
so,
getting into the
boy.
difficult
Not with my
duels until later on in the game.
So we stood there in the middle of the street, eyeball to eyeball. He
likes to
intended
move
kill
around
me, and I knew
quite
I
a bit,
had
though.
no choice but to defend myself.
So as I mentioned before, the crosshair on the right is your focus, and moving the hand over your gun is the speed. Yeah, a pretty good one. Right through
Some
the
say
neck.
I fought unfairly, but they weren't the ones looking him in the eye that day.
So where'd you go after Lincoln?
So a bullet for the old man. I don't know if that's what this mission's actually called, but it's generally what I refer to things as, whatever it says at the top there. Is
So
not
was the bastard you were
difficult
after
by any
now
means.
riding with the cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Oh.
But no.
But the
this
beginning's
time it
kind
was
of
different
a
bastard
cutscene
I
that you have
was
to just
after.
sit through.
The aforementioned
Then you have to
Mr.
run through
Ringo.
a
I came
semi-boss
upon them
battle
robbing a
that's
stagecoach, which wasn't surprising, being
sort
they
of
were
random,
such
not really.
murderous thieves and bastards. The bandits wore red
Depends on how
scarves,
bad you are at
so
the
I
game.
knew they worked for the old.
The better you are, the more you say it's RNG. So it could be a very RNG
I
heavy
did
fight.
my best to help them poor passengers.
Alright, just gotta take out these guys. They will die. There we go.
Moments later, the attackers were dead, and I checked the stagecoach to see how many passengers were still breathing. None. It was then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did.
Headshotting from far away with shotguns makes perfect sense.
They would appear in great numbers from above. And
Generally,
rain
I'd take
down
pistols
lead
for
on the
this,
hapless
but
enemy's
it's nicer
head.
to have shotguns for later on in the
Making
mission,
use of the
so
high ground,
I
whatever
switched
else
to using
they
a rifle for the beginning fight. It's not
Yep,
too bad.
The Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to them.
So once you take those out, it kind of
Were you
resets the
attacked
area.
by Apaches? What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say they were Apaches? I said Clanton's cowboys attacked me Apache style. I was in a pitched battle, but I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force. See, at the time, I was still pretty green and would often blunder into regrettable situations.
Those are actually my aiming headshots.
But I just kept shooting at anything I
I
could
do know how
see
to
up in those
shoot
damn
guns,
rocks.
I promise.
I didn't see Ringo.
Don't know how to play games.
I knew he was with the cowboys. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a dreadful wrong.
Oh, he's still
And I
alive.
was determined to have my revenge. But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to fight my way past these other assholes first. Unfortunately, I was running out of ammo.
Yeah, the game just takes away ammo here,
Another
but you can pick
perfect
some up.
example of my relative
If I didn't already, I
inexperience
think I
as a
did.
hunter of men.
Yeah, I did.
I immediately
So one of the
knew
perks
that
that
a
you get is
tactical
throwing
retreat was
dynamite. You
called
can
for,
split it into
as
3
my
sections,
vengeful
which helps
fury
out
was much less impressive
quite a bit
without the
when
bullets
there's
to
a
back
lot
it
of
up.
enemies coming from one direction. There's a few that will try to cross this bridge, and they're very annoying to fight.
Finally, they managed to corner me. Trapped as I was, the odds of my survival seemed pretty slim.
Should just be not done with this fight, though.
Luckily,
There we go.
Serendipity was on my side.
So once you
as
get the
I suddenly
checkpoint, the rock
spotted a
opens
way
up.
out of my
because
predicament.
physics work that way.
He's getting away!
I ran ahead as if the devil himself was after
So that's the really
me.
boring
Bullets were
sections out of the
whizzing
way.
by my ears,
for the most
but
part.
I wasn't about to roll over and die.
Pretty much from here on, it's
I just
run
kept
and
running
gun.
like there was no tomorrow.
A lot of killing. Lots of
Because there
running.
wouldn't be if Clanton
Yeah,
and
that
his
kind of
men
stuff.
caught up with me. As I was scurrying around those caves, I thought, what was I thinking? Going up against a gang like this.
So there's some water here. You do not want to fall in it. You will go so slow.
And that's when
And
something miraculous
didn't really
happened.
fall in the water, but
Like
it
manna
was
from heaven. I found
dangerously
the
close.
desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache warrior. The old weapon next to him supplied me with some much-needed ammunition.
So the really cool thing about having shotguns in slow-mo is that they don't run out of ammo. It's one of the perks we get with New Game Plus. It also, I think, reloads it. Reload your shotguns for you. Which is why they're better than pistols for most sections. If you need to hit faraway targets, that guy did not die. Then you can just use a rifle. He's also not dead. There we go. In this run, we just run past a lot of enemies. You'll see me kill most of them, but later sections we do just run past a lot, so it's not uncommon for me to die if I get unlucky. So you can just run up this hill at the moment. It's actually a boss battle. It just respawns at the bottom of the hill once it starts.
That's right, Jack.
We're gonna have to run all the way up
Time
here
for that old man to
and
pay for
take
his
out Old
sins.
Man Clayton. Typically, you're supposed to hide behind rocks and like wait until he's done firing, but you can kind of get lucky. Alright, he hit me there. That's not good. Okay,
I'm coming
run up.
for you.
You can get away with
Still,
running
might have made more
for certain
sense, to be
sections.
perfectly
I'll try to
honest.
run here. Okay, made it.
Because that old fool had
good
a
luck.
Gatling gun and enough
Kinda have to run
bullets
far on
to
this one,
last
so I
him
wanna
till
wait.
the kingdom come.
Made it.
But I knew I could not let that deter me.
There's a lot of dialogue. If,
Most everyone thought it was the Ruales who had come up against
don't
him in
reload there,
Guadalupe Canyon. But it was just me.
Still alive. There we go.
Apparently, one
Typically,
of the
dynamite's
cowboys made it out of
more
there
than
alive
enough to take him out, but
and told Ike and Billy
sometimes you have to
Clanton
shoot
that
him
it
too.
wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps. And that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral.
once again, 100% historically accurate.
A few weeks after that dust-up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. So, what? But first
I'm going to
I
use
need tell
pistols
you
in the
about
beginning of this
cowboy
mission,
who
but near the end I'm going to switch to
Curly Bill
having
Gross.
shotguns for the boss.
Get ready, boys.
And while you do have duels with a lot of these guys, there still are... Did it give me concentration there? Some actual boss fights, like Old Man Clayton. So luckily I got far enough to hit a checkpoint that I really should not have hit.
There were killers around every
I don't know how I
corner,
got that lucky.
all wearing red bandanas. That's how the cowboys identified each other.
There's also one
I
up
was
here.
beginning to wish I had one myself.
Once I get there, I'm kind of
But I
safe.
wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed.
So once I get there, I'm pretty safe, so... I'm gonna reload right there again. Okay. Skip some dialogue. These stairs are not friendly.
Where was I?
Taking down
I'm not sure
the
why it
entire
is,
cowboy
but a lot of
gang
slopes and stairs
single-handed.
just really do not want you to
Indeed I
climb them
was,
at all.
Jack. Parts everywhere, piles of lumber, and God knows what else.
So we're gonna get the
people
shotguns
hide
right
behind.
here.
And where was Curly Bill? Did you see him?
I'm painting a picture.
As you
here.
can see, there's a lot of other ammo
It was this
and
beautiful
guns in
waterfall
that section that you don't want
and
to
a
pick up.
crystal clear stream that led to a verdant valley that was truly,
Consider your picture painted. What happened next?
well, finally the bastards that were still alive made a last stand.
So this boss
Curly
is
Bill,
a quicker
Johnny
kill
Ringo,
than
and
his cutscene will
compadres
take to
took off
introduce
into
him.
the lumber yard, and I followed after.
So all we have to do is find this guy.
Are you saying they ran?
Typically back here.
Cowardice was not in Ringo nor Curly Bill's nature.
Reload checkpoint, skip some more dialogue, and we're good.
Brocious gave me no
That's
choice
the boss.
but to take his life. But Ringo was nowhere to be found.
Well, it's not the end of the
I knew
level.
you didn't
We
kill
still have to
Ringo,
go do a
'cause
duel.
He was found dead in a different location altogether.
As the late great
this
Yu-Gi-Oh
day,
once said,
killer
it's
is
time to
still
duel.
Indeed. Took me a few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
Alright, let's take him out. This guy likes to move as well.
It's incredible,
It's
sir.
very annoying when they move
I
around a
always
lot.
thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him.
Focus is actually really good. My speed needs to go up. Should be fine though. It's more than enough. Got him.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you, boy. But the legend ain't always true.
Also, shoutouts to everybody that's awake this early
I
hour
was
of
paid
the
a healthy
day.
bounty for Ringo and Curly
If
Bill.
you're in the same time zone as me. If you're in Europe, good morning. If you're somewhere else, then I don't know. Why are you watching this?
I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant. And hunting Plumber looked like a good way to get rich quick. As the local vigilantes exposed him as the leader of the bandits and put a generous price on his
It
head.
makes me nervous standing so close to all these goddamn barrels of gunpowder. Oh, yeah? Who the hell is that then?
I knew that
dynamite.
dynamite wasn't mine.
Okay, because I don't have any concentration, this part can get a little tricky.
It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48.
Just have to make sure I kill all these guys as I run past them.
The
Okay,
only
we're
ones
good.
drawn to those riches.
Had a little bit of trouble with that in practice.
There were thieves, killers, robbing travelers, and hijacking gold shippers.
Alright, we're fine there.
Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy pickings.
There's a really cool skip we can do here, but we first have to go through the cave.
Plummer
And then we
had a
actually
lot
work
of
back
men
to
on
this
his payroll.
section.
A hell of a lot.
Spoiler alerts, I guess.
I thought I was some
Sorry.
kind of hero.
Didn't mean to ruin the game for you guys.
I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out. I had a few ideas on how to get into that
Kill
mine.
that guy.
But once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back.
I actually want to go left.
So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense.
A lot of these caves
It was the
that we
quickest
go
way
into
in,
have a
but
lot
that
of different
also
ways to
made it
go
more
in.
dangerous.
Typically, you always just want to go left.
Besides,
Saves you from getting
once
lost.
you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around.
Tons of TNT. Oh,
Those shafts could be as deep as hell.
get stuck on a wall. Brilliant. You don't want to get locked in a room full of TNT.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube.
So now I just want to run. Want to run away before we die.
I admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane.
Take out these guys because we're not. Oh man, I did
It's a
the
good
stuff
thing that
wrong.
I
I'm sorry.
abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it.
Oh wait, now we're back here. Who would have guessed? It's not like I completely spoiled it or anything.
Instead, I spotted a ladder.
Alright,
Way
so
into
we're gonna
the
give this a
mine
couple
from the
tries.
opposite side.
It's a little skip here.
It
Alright,
was a
first
long
try,
way
not
around,
bad.
but that approach seemed more sensible.
So you just skip going down 2 ladders if you
I
jump
was
and grab it
determined
at
not
the
to
very
give
last
up,
second.
however.
There's
That
another way to
sheriff
do it,
plumber
which
seemed
involves
quiet
loading a
and
checkpoint
despicable
and
guy.
hitting the right section.
When the vigilante
I don't know that method.
discovered what the sheriff
I'm not
was
sure
up
which
to,
one's faster.
People were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high.
So we're gonna have another boss fight here.
I wanted
This
to
one
use
involves
the
a
element
lot of dynamite.
surprise. Plus, I figured I could use
It's
the
not too
exercise.
bad, but it's pretty fun.
I was warmed up already, so what the hell?
This guy's waiting for me.
Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserve
Oh,
better.
almost fell off there.
Nevada City.
Don't want to do that.
Well, I thought Plummer met his
Dynamite?
maker in Bannock,
Cool.
Montana.
Right, well, he was a sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own.
So just kind of wait for the dialogue to end. So you can just throw dynamite or you can shoot them. Either way will damage them. But if you actually just throw dynamite and then shoot the dynamite, which I didn't do there, see,
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was
you
going
can
to
just do a lot faster damage. Some more dynamite. You can do the same for the minions that he spawns. That did not get him. It's too early. This makes it easier to hit the guys that are trying to hide behind cover. I don't see him. There he is. Shoot him. Got him. There we go.
So that's how Henry Plummer died. Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold. And now, I was a...
So, did you finally go after the...
This is, I believe, the shortest mission in the game. It's very quick. Even casually, it's not very long at all.
I dodged death many a time. And that night in Abilene was no different.
I thought the Texas Rangers got hard.
Yeah,
First, we're gonna
that's what they
some
want.
dialogue, so why not?
To the very same saloon we're sitting in today. Look around and imagine this place painted in blood.
You don't
Harden
actually need to
was
go into that
waiting for
room,
me.
but you can make it there just in time.
Wait, I'm jumping the gun here. Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer.
Actually, I want to pick up the shotgun.
By the end, he
you go.
confessed to taking the lives of 42 men. He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a
Just
gang
a
of
little
armed
faster, some
miscreants
cows,
and other
some lovely,
assorted
lovely
thugs.
steak.
He and his men set up camp outside of town.
Take care of
And I was
those
hoping
guys.
Bob was among them.
Apparently they did not hear any of that going on.
I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp.
Stop that, sumbitch!
He was carousing in town with his closest friends.
Let the boys
Hardin's
know we
boys
got
apparently
another
didn't
raw
want me to
dog.
reach the Bull's Head. Some were
So we're going to
hightailing it
another
into
quick
town
time
to
event here.
inform their jefe of my
This is one
unwelcome
that it's faster to
presence.
get out of first.
I wondered if Bob was among them.
I believe if it's over, if it's 4 or
As good as
more
I was,
events that you have to do,
wondered if
it's
John
faster
Wesley
just to get out of it on the
wasn't
first one and
just
headshot him.
better. Before I I could test my mettle against Hardin, however. I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers. Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story.
Oh, I did not see that at all.
I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration.
This guy's dead, right?
I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon.
Still a guy outside that you don't actually need to kill.
Suffice it to say, nobody there
He
was
can
happy
kill
to see
you,
me.
which is rather annoying.
I was disappointed
Slide
that
back here
neither
for a little
Bob
bit.
nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived, as a moment later I was facing down the fastest gun in the West.
So John Hardin's fight is a little special. You can't actually like flat out kill him like the others. I think there is a very small percentage that you do. But for the most part, you kind of have to dodge bullets and hope you
I felt a bolt of adrenaline,
only have to dodge a couple.
or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Oh, I got really nice speed. Bad focus though. So even the focus is always off by a little bit when you first pull this out.
That man was faster than grease lightning.
So you never
But
see the
being
bullet actually hit
inebriated
him.
as he was,
And I
he
only had to
didn't
dodge
count
one,
his
so it's pretty
shots.
good.
And now, he was at my mercy.
So he didn't die?
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless avenger took his life. Shot him in the back in a saloon just like this one. Thank you, darling.
I believe this is the... Yeah. This is a very interesting mission.
A bounty was put on Grey Wolf's head, and that's how
This
I
is
came to hunt
one
him
of
in
the
mountains.
few that doesn't have a
Mountains
duel
so
or a
high,
fight
they tickle the nether regions of heaven.
with a boss at the end of the mission. There's a few little fights you have to go through prior
Grey
to it,
Wolf
though.
was a Chiricahua Apache
Hopefully I don't
medicine
run out of
man who
ammo.
had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution.
Yeah, if
They
you
were
like
more than
this
willing to
game
die
at all
for
or
him.
are interested in this game, also check out Judgy, who's in the chat. He's a pretty cool guy.
They saw me before I saw them. And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down. It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas. And that's why they had retreated there. I admit to having some regrets about
He almost
going
killed me.
after
Pretty good there.
But
Getting shot
again,
from behind. Well, luckily he didn't just flat out shoot me. He went into that animation, which is 10 times better.
Grey Wolf?
Now they got a checkpoint, it doesn't matter.
I
So
did
I'll just
find the
respawn
enemy
here.
in their hideout.
Which ammo do I have? Check.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper
Okay, it looks like I
cave.
have enough.
Don't tell
Should be
me
fine.
what's in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure angry cussing.
But I don't think I made this jump. Nope. The rocks here are pretty small. Yeah, I have plenty of ammo for this. It's very easy to just fall off. I'm not making excuses for why I just failed a simple jump. I promise.
See, back then, I had a stubborn
So as I mentioned,
streak
just keep
a mile
taking lefts in
wide.
caves.
I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit as they had torches on the wall.
How big was this cave?
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars. They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
It is very easy to die in this part, so I'm not explaining much. I mean, at this far into the game, there's not a whole lot to explain other than the fact that we're shooting and killing Indians.
How come you know
can.
so much about engines?
A few years.
So now we can go into the fight with Grey Wolf, if you can call it that.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows, and I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me.
So he puts us in this spot, and we can
As his
really
story
see the
unfolded
enemies.
in my mind.
We actually come back to this fight later on in the game. Pretty much the exact same thing. It's a really nice spot if you're trying to get points. You can chain all these together.
I have no tears.
He said I was a great warrior,
Right in my
a
face.
coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
So we're gonna warp back to the cave
I
and
didn't
have to
quite
go
get
through
what he
another
was
fight
saying,
sequence,
there
which
was
is pretty
definitely
easy.
snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
This is when splitting dynamite becomes really handy. You can't see these enemies behind the wall. You can get them right as they spawn.
I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kind of like a miracle. I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever.
What the hell's going on? Shots are being fired.
Finally,
That's
I
all you
found
need to know.
myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering
That should not have
whitewater
made it.
river.
I'll be 100% honest. I should have died there.
I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo Jumbo's right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens.
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot
That's
of
wasted some concentration. That's not good.
a little late. I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
If you haven't picked up on it, I'm not using WASD.
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches.
Those are not
surrounding
the default
100?
vines. I use
God be my
ESDF
witness.
instead of WASD.
Oh, come on. Who are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Well, that's what
Hey,
they do it.
I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All
The
right,
frame rate
but
should be
I'm not gonna
fine.
drag
You're talking
this
about the
out.
actual bitrate.
Where
My
were we?
upload speed's
You were
pretty bad,
surrounded
so
by 100 Apache warriors.
it might get blurry at sections
Well, I didn't
or
take
the
the
whole
time
thing.
to
I don't
count them
know.
exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Alright, so now we just have to kind of kill some more Apaches. So a few of them will run down and just meet their fate this way. The next batch will go to the hills. We can just search one. There we are, on the tree. Anybody? No. Should be one, yep. Here. That
And
was
in the
pretty good.
end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before. I followed it as I desperately
So that's the
needed
last
to
fight
find
for
out
this area.
what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me.
There's no real
It was
boss,
like
there's
that
no real
son of a
duel.
bitch disappeared into thin air.
I'm pretty sure every other mission has one or the other.
Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth.
This mission is by far my favorite in the game. just because the
It was
camera work
early
and
morning.
the story.
One of my friends was a local
Shotgun.
gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn
Kick down this
street.
door.
Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property.
So this story has 3 versions. That's the first
The
one.
brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that.
And then
I
Dwight
read all
comes in
about
and tries
that
to tell us
thing,
how it's
so I know for
really
a fact
done.
that it went down very
And of course we have to come
differently.
back in and tell them how it actually went down.
First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the
is
rooftop
version
across
2.
the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait the son of bitches out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns.
Or somebody can still be alive. Of course.
He went in there alone to confront those criminals.
So there's a little skip you can do on the ladder. Instead you just fall in this
One
tree.
of the marshals shouted,
And fall
"Where are
down.
you going? Are
It's
you
a little
crazy?"
faster.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
If you miss the
dumbass?
tree, you typically die
He
and you
saw a way
waste
to
a lot
get
of time.
around to the
So
back of the bank.
it's not a
Then
worthy
he figured
trade-off.
out how to hit the Daltons from a
Still go
direction
for it.
they weren't expecting. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
So as I mentioned before, the shotguns don't have
Heroic men like him.
they don't run out of ammo. You're in slow-mo, which is really nice for this section because you can just spam them.
Jim Boone, Davy Crockett, he died defending the Alamo.
Where's this? You don't need to kill that guy, but he can pop up when you're in this animation, which is really annoying. For marathon safety, I'll just go ahead and take him out.
Came away victorious.
So that's version 2. Still got one more to go.
His name was Silas Greaves. And when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened. It was early evening, not high noon. The Daltons blew up a safe, and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
I'm ending you.
I had been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the
that
same
almost killed me.
time in the same town where everybody knew them. They still had friends in Hawkins.
Hey, you got us a hero. Put some holes in him.
And those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me
It's
from
not
all
really
directions.
necessary to do.
Outside of the
I'd rather
Daltons
not die
running with
here.
money, they weren't losing. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another.
You really need to
shootout
have a
with
lot of
tires.
concentration for
Did the
this
Daltons
fight
hold
coming
up
up.
in somebody's
Not get
house?
the slope.
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons. And they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those two...
If you don't have
families been
concentration, then
feuding
you
forever.
are really out of luck for
The
this
Dalton
fight.
boys knew I would never give
This
up.
Emmett is pretty tough.
Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant it,
He still
just
didn't
in
die.
case that trap of theirs didn't work. It was
That's
him,
good.
the youngest. And he decided
Then
to
there's
stand
some
his ground.
slight backup strats here. And it died anyways. Hooray! He did not want to take any damage. So it could be okay. There's a slight problem if you spawn in and you don't have any concentration, which happened to me in practice, and then you're pretty much shit out of luck and take a lot of time. Would have been so much nicer if you just went down in round 1. There we go. Okay.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in
That was-
Coffeyville.
That
He's
was
the
like
only
second
Dalton
try.
who did.
Right.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him? But I have to admit,
That fight and the one at the very end with Sundance Kid are, in my opinion, the
it
hardest
took me
parts
a
of the
couple
game.
of days to track the Dalton
Everything
down.
else is relatively easy if you know where you're going.
Can't get away with this.
And in that time, a whole
Those two
posse
fights,
of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track him to the ends of the earth.
Fourth? No,
They seemed
I
as
think it was
determined
second
as
try.
me to find those outlaws.
Like, I wasn't
But
keeping
as we headed into
count,
those
but I'm
swamps,
pretty sure
it was like
second
I
try.
had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right?
So you're going to see me jump a lot in this
Beautiful
area,
time of
because
year.
it's faster to jump in
At
the
least
water
you
than
had
it
the
is to
weather
walk.
on your side.
Not by my recollection.
Jumping
It was
sideways is not
damp
helping
and foggy as
any.
hell. It was tough to stay
find
on a
it more
true
fun.
course. So we kept an eye out for landmarks. It was autumn. Maple trees were in full color. Red as blood.
Bury him in the sun. Let him where they stand.
Except for some bitches ahead of me who wanted to do me harm. So I had to face them alone. I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
So did you find the dogs?
Not yet. But I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends. The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff.
I'm not sure where that guy was. That was interesting. Luckily, checkpoints are not that far apart.
Crazier than a shit house.
Oh, there it is. Found him. There's a lot of explosive barrels that I confuse with enemies, and vice versa, a lot in this game.
My reinforcements was nowhere to be seen.
I'm picking up ammo. There's a lot of fighting you have to do in this area. You really, really do not want to run out of ammo in this game.
A barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view, but just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running through the
You can actually kill
I
these
followed
enemies here. You don't really need to, but
But that goddamn
you want
swamp
some
was
extra
like
points.
a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was.
so it's going to put us in a little cutscene here. Okay, I made it up here.
Steve,
And it's going to spawn in a bunch of enemies. You're not
So I just
really meant
started
to make it all the way
walking.
over
Pretty
here.
soon
Enemies are going to spawn in right here and some over here. But we get behind them, it makes it a little bit easier.
Steve. Steve.
Huh? Oh, no.
Guess I went a
No,
little too
I'm
fast.
listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
That's everybody?
Engines?
Yeah, that's everybody.
They were Indians.
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
Stop
No,
that shit.
I'm listening. I was just opening my eyes.
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet. But I did find a few of their cousins. You Kansans breed like rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what.
Keep running. Just keep running.
I knew those Dalton boys were out there somewhere, standing together against.
So this is a part of the game
anyone
where a
who
steamboat just
That's
pops out
when
of
I
nowhere.
saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps?
Yes, it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was in that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high. And those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be
It's
found.
actually pretty quick.
But among those men that were shooting at me,
The game makes you
I
look
saw
at that
some
flying
familiar faces.
debris for some
Somewhere
reason.
up there, the
Not really
Daltons
sure why.
were waiting.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell.
Sometimes that guy will just hide forever. You can't get a kill on him.
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. But it turned out that they had me.
Take him
The
out.
plot
I'm
twist.
sending you to hell.
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle.
After all this,
Apparently,
now we're
the
inside a
vigilantes
burning
were on
steamboat.
their damn payroll. They didn't just want
They
to
talk
shoot
about
me.
some
They
pretty hot
wanted to
stuff in there.
burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Oh yeah, but I was in a
Did you
fight.
hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
You're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think it'll even float.
So anyway,
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
oh god,
Just thought we'd break our way outside. We
Get off, Breeze.
got a
I
minigun.
took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally
Kill off a lot of these
disembark.
enemies.
It was time to settle this once and for all.
They're gonna spawn on the left-hand side for a while, and they'll switch over to the right. Kind of sniping through the trees here. They always spawn in the same spot and run to the same locations, so you can predict where they're gonna go. Well, you don't even have to predict; you know where they're gonna go.
Bob and Grad weren't about to come at me one at a time.
So we've
They
taken
were
out
in this
two of the
together.
Dalton, or one of the Dalton brothers. Now we have to
Two
take out two of
brothers
them.
side by side, determined to take me
We're gonna
down.
take out.
Confident
smaller one
that this
first.
time the
I
odds
forget
were
his
on
name.
their side.
If you try to take out the other one, it's just not possible. The smaller one is faster, so you have to get him first. Alright, there's one, there's two.
They
Alright.
got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later, he moved to California and sold real estate and
So now the Daltons are dead, we can go after the more vile creatures. Trains in this game, well, train scenes are very notorious for
I've
very,
been on
very
their
easy
trail
deaths.
for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy,
This train is
they
not,
were a loose
not as bad
association
as the
of
one we have to go
outlaws
on
who
later.
robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the
I would not be
Sundance
surprised
Kid
if I have a death here.
and that murderous hombre
Hopefully
I was
not,
tracking,
but we'll
Roscoe
see.
Bob Bryant. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop.
How'd they go up? People just love Call of Juarez. Like,
Well, I assume the
such a
wild
popular
ones were
game
likely
that
in the
everyone's
still
heard of and played.
intact part of the train high above.
Like
I was
the nostalgia
determined to
everyone
make that
feels for this
sumbitch
game is
Bob
through
pay
the
for
roof.
what he did to my brothers.
Can't contain it.
My ears are still ringing from blowing up that bridge.
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them. From
Maybe a
there,
little
I
jump
had to
shot
negotiate
here.
an even more precarious route. I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole pass of the mess.
Actually, I'm gonna take a little exit here.
As I mentioned before, I am not fond of heights. But I was too busy dodging bullets to worry
Take a
about
little
falling
safe here.
to my
So,
death.
I really don't want to die.
Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway. So I was determined to take down
Luckily, I got
as
the
many of those
checkpoint as well.
bastards as I could.
A very easy way to die is to run into this train car early. Once you blow it up.
I kept
There's
hoping
a
the
couple
law
seconds
would
you have to
show
wait
up and
before you
give
can
me a
run in.
You
hand.
mean like that giant Pinkerton posse that I read about? Did they come riding in, guns a-blazing to help?
What is a Halo? I don't know what that is. Is that like a Call of Duty campaign? Call of Duty Halo? So we get all these nice names, and none of them are actually here.
Help? From the Pinkertons? No, son. I had to fight the wild bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Who the hell is that? They'll kill us all!
My guess is those dime novels didn't portray this.
Time for
as
another
it
little
happened,
minigun part.
did they? Only a few
I used to just
stragglers
skip the minigun and use the
left.
pistols with headshot.
Old Bob's trail.
And it's actually, I think, faster, but you can't maintain it for the entire fight. So overall, it loses time. Once again, these all spawn in relatively the same spot. It's a little harder to see them because they blend in so well.
Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nosed Curry.
Who was he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after
Flat nose
Sundance,
isn't
I
really
mean.
that difficult to take down. They
And
say he's the
Kid
fastest
Curry.
in the gang,
And
but he
maybe
really don't
Elsie
have that much
Lay.
speed.
Though some
compared to
folks might
others.
dispute that.
John Harden, you need a lot more. And I believe the end fight, you need more. A lot of speed, terrible focus. Doesn't matter, got him
On
right in
that
the
very
neck.
same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America. They ended up...
So 130 to Hell. It's quite an interesting mission. Has really nice camera work in the beginning.
I tried to
Not this
find
beginning.
Bob Bryant, but it was as if he'd disappeared. Sometime later, I
Beginning
heard
of
the
the second
Wild
part, I
Bunch was
guess.
back together. Kid Curry escaped from jail, and now he was running the whole shebang.
The fight at the
So
end
I
is
took to
very
their
quick
trail.
and relatively easy.
Because I
You
was
know
still
the
in
setup?
pursuit of my brother's killer, and
We'll get
hoped
into
that
that
he
in
was
a
back
couple
with
minutes,
him.
though.
That Kid Curry's kinda crazy.
Anyways, I tracked those boys to a camp right outside Parachute, Colorado. Being outnumbered, I didn't bother with a warning shot. I just started taking over.
Back to a single shotgun.
Old Bob wasn't among them, and neither was Kid Curry. I could sense
So we just have to stare at this rock, and it tells us all we need to know.
I just needed
Oh,
a clue
mighty
as to their
rock
whereabouts.
of wisdom, grant me your powers.
And I found one. A map with their bold plan clearly marked. This time they were fixing to blow up a train trestle. Property of the Union Pacific. The plan clearly indicated how they were fixing to undermine several of the weakest wooden supports.
Oh, it's just another little section we run past.
Kid Curry was considered the wildest of the wild bunch. It was said that he fathered 85 bastard children.
There's a small little skip
Some
you can
say
do
it was
here.
only 5.
But it's
Kid
not really
Curry
worth it.
had
I'd
bragged
say
to
it
a
was maybe a
whore how he
second.
was going to rob a train heading to the U.S. Mints in Denver. And that whore, the bridge was rigged with dynamite.
A little bit.
So I decided I'd best be careful confronting those bastards.
The whole point of this mission is to disarm
A moment later, I
dynamite
saw a
on the
ladder that
bridge.
somehow had
I think there's a
escaped my
total of
attention.
4 patches that we have to defuse.
up now.
Don't worry, But the Wild Bunch did not take kindly to my presence and attempted to blow my head off. It appeared the kid had found a number of new recruits to bolster their ranks.
What happened next?
So every time we
Having
disarm one, it
removed the
opens up a
first
new little
bundle of
path that we can
dynamite,
walk on.
I decided I might as well remove the other one. Once that was done, I figured I'd find my way from there.
Sorry if you can't tell what's going on. I honestly can't either. Where's the shotgun? That's not good. It's probably gonna kill me.
So, what happened then?
Had to remove more of that damn dynamite.
It must have been terrifying trying to make your way across.
I was sweating it a bit, but then I noticed a footbridge tied up on high, so I shot the rope.
Shotguns at close range are inaccurate. The more you know.
So that was all the dynamite?
Funny you should mention that, darling. As actually there was a 4th charge impeding my progress. Once I removed it...
Alright, so there's actually 5 charges. We have 1 more to go, I believe. There might be...
So I proceeded onward and realized that that way just wasn't going to work. I needed an alternate path forward. Luckily, I found a cave, and as
So
I
a lot of
made
these
my
jumps
way
where you
back
see
to the
me
bridge, I
like
saw
hang off
something
the
that
edge and
concerned me.
barely make
It
it
was
back
a
on.
long burning
You can't
fuse, and it
fully
was
make the
moving
jump.
fast as
You
hell.
actually have to go through that
I had to
animation.
catch it.
It's rather annoying. Like that, you can't flat out make that jump.
The burning fuse was so damn quick, I had to run like the wind.
You also
I
can't
almost
catch the
had-
fuse early.
No.
If you try to, it
Thought
just
I was
it
going
won't
to have
let
a
you
car
actually
in
put
me
it
when
out.
I lost sight of those sparks. My
Wait until
heart
you're
was
up at the
pounding
top.
like a sledgehammer. I knew that failure meant boom. Then, finally, at the last moment. Whew.
Wasn't bad.
Of course, I was successful, or clearly I wouldn't be talking to you folks here today.
Now we've done the bridge
Naturally,
section,
I
which actually went
removed
pretty
that
well.
last
All in all.
dynamite charge.
Now we gotta go fight.
Well,
boss.
it was a touching reunion. But by this time, I was
Man.
thoroughly exhausted and dragging my ass, as I was not a young
Didn't
man
know how to
anymore.
grab.
Of course,
Cool.
I had to tread carefully. Otherwise, I could, well, die.
You don't say. Alright, let's give this another go.
kill that SOB. Make him bleed. Send him to Marcus.
Finally, I found those boys. Or more precisely, they found me. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Kid Curry opened up on me with a goddamn gun.
And
It was
I'm plugging
hidden in
it
this
back.
tunnel,
Looks like
pretty well shielded.
this might have saved me. There we go. Perfect. I knew I could do it. So he's just going to sit in the tunnel and use the minigun on us. But if we can hide behind this one little group of rocks, we can just toss him some dynamite. So actually, I want to get up to this ammo. It's not going to let me. This time around, just spawn me here. So we'll just hide here and crouch, and just aim dynamite this way. That should be enough.
I brought that tunnel down.
So that's the
When I
boss,
met Kid
essentially.
Curry himself. He had decided to stop pussyfooting around and deal with me personally.
You can actually still die in here, and you have to do the whole fight again.
Come here.
Which may or may not have happened in one of my runs. Quick duel. I think you need a pretty high speed for this guy, like 80, 85 at least. Once you do this enough, it's not that bad to get. But casually, I could not figure it out.
As fast as he was, I was just a bit faster.
There's still one little more aspect to this fight.
And as he lay wounded, I demanded to
pick
know
left
the
or right?
whereabouts of Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Probably gonna have to
He
lean right.
shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him.
It actually zoomed me in quite a bit more than it usually does. It's weird.
Those were his last words.
So we have a couple missions left to go through. You went to bed. Look at this guy.
I confronted them as they were robbing a train. Bullets were flying at me from every which way. But I knew I'd have to fight my way forward if I was going to find this Jim.
Generally, you want to break down doors and just open them when you're leaving. But when you're coming into the train car, you definitely want to
How'd they stop this train in the first
break them down.
place?
Well, the James boys were experts at this.
Put you right in the slow-mo. Yeah, I'd be surprised if I didn't fall off the
They
train at
hopped a
least once
freight
somewhere.
train, having heard there was a big payroll in the express safe. So
Depends on how risky I decide to play this.
the James Younger gang was decimated after that little fiasco they had in Northfield, Minnesota. So Jesse needed more men and took on the killer I was after, along with a host of others. I was hoping to find my...
This part's relatively easy if you can keep your concentration up.
Climbing around that train, I must have swallowed 100 damn bugs before I reached
James
that...
Younger gang pulled the first train robbery west of the Mississippi.
Sounds like you hold them in high regard.
So although I restart the checkpoint, you still have to sit through this really long section where they talk about you when you go to the bathroom.
Urgent need to drain my one-eyed snake. Well, I've had more than a few drinks, and I've been sitting here for quite a spell.
Right through there. Let me show you. I've never heard so much malarkey in my life.
You think he's bullshitting us?
You don't think he's solid?
All these train cars are
I
exactly
think
the
he's just
same
some old
layout-wise.
drunk looking for some free liquor.
I don't know, Jack. I think I believe him. You don't think he met Jesse James?
Boy, you gotta be kidding me. That story makes no sense at all.
Jack.
You gotta be 2 bricks short of a load to believe that cock and bull story.
I don't agree.
Jack, lay off the
But
ball.
you seriously think that tired old man went toe-to-toe with Jesse James?
Well, that's better.
This is the part where it's very likely I'm going to
Jim was
fall
married
off.
to the infamous Belle Star. Of course, I didn't learn that.
It's also very likely I might die from enemy
I
fire.
made my way forward the best I could. Around the sides, over the roof. At some point, some bitch saw me and shouted out, "It's the damn Pinkertons!"
Yeah, that long section is marginally shorter.
Now, I never worked for that line, but I guess they assumed I was one of his assassins.
That was a bad idea. I didn't fall off, but I did get shot in the face. It's okay. Oh, still didn't die. This game sometimes a lot of sense.
I had to come up with a creative way to make my way forward.
I'm really glad I have decent reflexes.
Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
So I'm gonna take this Gatling gun pretty slow.
Yeah, seems
You
like
can
you run
hide.
into a lot
I think
of
it's
Asshole?
here.
Gatling
Might be a way to away with it right here.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
No, I need to go further.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here.
Yeah, that's where I need to be. Pretty good. There's just a lot of enemies that spawn in here for some reason. Just gonna take them out this way. Makes it a little safer.
I was looking for kids shooting any son of a bitch stupid enough to get in my way. And that included Jesse James himself. There sure were a lot of men determined to die that day.
I'm not sure why Jesse James's bar
It
showed up
was
there.
then that Jesse detached the express car from the rest of
Also,
the
I've never gotten this part in the tunnel. That's bizarre. Yeah. I've never seen that in a tunnel before. It's strange. I don't know if that means I went too fast or too slow.
I could see Jesse waiting for me, fixing to kill me so he could get away with all that money.
Bubbles, don't question physics.
showdown with
Dynamite
Jesse James?
is irrelevant
Of course
in
he
terms of
didn't.
speed.
Everybody knows
The moving
Jesse
train?
was killed by Bob Ford.
Because if
Yeah.
one train leaves the
Jesse
station
went out like
going
John
200
Wesley
miles an
Harding.
hour,
Coward shot him in
it's
the back
going way
of the
too
head.
fast. And
Guess it doesn't
shouldn't be
matter
worried
how
about this
far
math
you
problem.
run, does it, Ben? Your past always catches up with you.
Good speed, terrible aim, terrible focus. Still good.
Yeah, I didn't kill Jesse James. Just wounded him bad enough to convince him to hang up his guns.
What about that Jim fella? What happened to him?
I figure he was up front with a gun to the engineer's head. That bastard slipped away again. I'll tell you how I got him. But
So now Jesse James is out of the way. We're going to go down to South America, some country, I believe. I don't know.
after my showdown with Jesse,
I don't remember.
I continued to track his brother, Frank, and that son of a bitch, Jim. I followed those bastards into the high mountains as they were going to ground.
This is the second to
mountains
last
would that
level.
be?
This is where we
Somewhere
find
in
out
the
where
Ozarks,
Bob
I
is.
believe. The perfect place to
the
hide
next one
out from
is
the
kind of
authorities. In fact,
taking him down.
before I could find them, some Indians who fled the res and were hiding out from the military
Sports.
found me first. They probably thought I was
kind of
a
a big
cavalry
fan.
scout. Didn't want me telling the military where they were.
Indians?
They could have been Cheyenne, but there was all sorts of renegades roaming the landscape back then. Hey, how about another whiskey, Ben? Nothing better to soothe the troubled soul.
So I remember back from the part with, I don't remember his name. But yeah, we've been here before.
Like that time. Did I tell you about Grey Wolf?
Yeah, Grey Wolf, that's the same.
Of course I did. In fact, I could
Judge is probably gonna hate me for playing this one safe, but I have a tendency to die in this fight.
Go back to that again.
So I'm just gonna stay here and hit him with the rifle.
great darkness in your
Ideally, you would run where you need to go, which is way back there, and just post up with your pistols or shotguns. But it's very dangerous, very likely to die.
and the darkness will grow.
If you do happen to die in this fight, you have to go through this entire fight again, both sections. It's just something you don't want to have to do. Taking those hits there is actually pretty scary.
Did you ever find it? Who? The man you are after.
Let me ask you something, Ben. You ever think about death?
Mr. Greaves, are you all right?
So at this point I can't sprint, which is rather annoying. But it's gonna jump.
Oh, death, won't you spare me over to another year? What is this?
So all I have to do is go up here and hit this checkpoint. And then we can jump in the water, get a little swim. I have to trigger these rocks to fall. There we go.
None can excel. I'll open the door to heaven or hell. Oh, death, won't you spare me
might make it
till another year?
So
it's
are
close.
you going to answer the question?
All right.
What question is
Little
that?
bath time.
Jim Reed. Did you ever find him?
Reed was indeed that son of a bitch's surname. That's right, Ben. A despicable character.
Frank James
I
is
remember him
relatively
laughing
annoying,
like a
only
hyena
because
that cold morning they lynched me and my brothers.
going up
He
slopes
was
is such a pain
intent
in
on
the ass at
avoiding
times.
my vengeance, but nothing was gonna stop me.
Because you have to move upwards while being shot at. If the slopes don't play along, then you're in big trouble. Hopefully I can do this first try, though. I think I found a pretty decent route. It's the safer way.
I finally did track those outlaws down.
Doesn't want to let me up
They
here.
had long rifles with scopes and were well positioned to pick off any poor soul who came anywhere close.
So I'm jumping up this frantically, and I'm not getting anywhere. Okay. There we go. Still pretty good. Pretty safe. This slope does not like me right now. This is not good. But he hasn't hit me yet, which is really nice. There's one shot. Wait. You get a checkpoint right up here, so I should probably just go for it.
I'm guessing Frank James believed I was responsible for the demise of his brother Jesse.
Get around the rock.
I couldn't really disagree with the man, as I thought Jesse was dead then as well.
Well, like I said, I just get a checkpoint right there, so we're not too far off.
He backed off as I closed in on him, but he was still intent on killing me.
I'm gonna count that as a
When I
first
closed in on him
try.
again, he backed off again, looking for a better angle on me. Hell, I can't fault Frank for wanting his revenge, as I was there
That's
for the
Frank
same
James.
damn reason myself. At this
still has
point,
a health
I'm guessing
bar.
You think Silas Greaves
I don't really
is
know
a
why.
worse murderer than Jim Reed ever was.
No, sir.
A man who spent half his life killing somebody's brothers, fathers.
I guess he can
sons.
still technically kill you
I
right
think you were
here.
just looking for justice, sir.
Is
Oh,
that
you
what
actually
I was
hit me.
looking for, Dwight? Is that what it was? Justice?
Stand behind
Isn't
this
that
little.
why you were hunting the James gang?
I don't even know what this
Gang
is.
gang. Right.
They said to blow up his house.
I finally found Frank holed up in his mountain cabin, and he was determined to have me dead. It was a pitched battle that could have gone either way. Luckily, I had some dynamite in my possession.
dynamite.
So while it's all happening, you can just run ahead. There's no reason you get warp back, but it's pretty cool to see how far you can make it.
Right.
I'm just laying out.
I've actually
the
made it
facts
all the
as I
way to the
remember them,
end.
Jack. And that old shack, well, it went tumbling right off that cliff.
Yeah,
With
pretty
Frank
much.
James still in
Can I get
it?
up on the rock?
Yes, sir.
But Frank James
Nope,
is still
okay.
alive, living in Missouri.
So we're gonna get up on these
Folks
rocks
around
that
the
are
family
right in
farm
front of
for
me
25
for
cents a
the
tour.
fight in this
I
section,
didn't say he died in the fall, now did I?
which is where all the enemies spawn in. So you kind of get quicker kills.
I'm done with this damnable outlaw life. Kill me, don't kill me, do what you will. At this point, I just don't give a shit.
I explained to Frank that I had nothing against him personally and that I was looking for someone else.
You want Reed? Have at him. I never did like that bastard. I am done here.
He's just gonna sit
We
right there.
parted in peace as Frank pointed out the path to my prey before making his way back down the hill. But I was determined not to let that murderer escape my revenge again.
So what happened with Reed?
Well, I finally found the last of the gang hiding in a nearby cave. First, I had to dispatch the lookouts. But rather than wander in willy-nilly, I decided
Should
it
have
would be
plenty of
better
ammo.
to smoke that sumbitch out. Hey, Reed! I shouted. No wonder you're so ornery. Can't be
Mention we
easy
make it up
being
on these
married
rocks.
to Belle Starr. While you're off
There we go.
providing for the family, she's
I'm gonna
spreading her
post up
legs for
right
every
about
Tom,
here.
Dick, and Cole
So we're gonna have enemies
yonder.
spawn on our right,
Not an
left, and then
attractive
mostly
woman
up top.
exactly, but very
So we're gonna
friendly.
use auto
At least
aim
she
and
was to
then
me.
a lot of dynamite.
It was then that the last bunch of bandits jumped out of hiding.
Why won't this asshole give up? This guy's dangerous.
Eventually,
There we go.
it was just
it was
me and Reed.
A little sloppy, but got the job done. Reed's another really easy
I
fight.
had waited a
It's
long
nothing
time
special.
to face him down, so I could repay him for what he did to my brothers.
He just really likes to move a lot.
And repay him I did. Well,
So this is the last mission in the game. It has a pretty difficult fight sequence at the end. First one, take a
40
shotgun.
years I had waited to get my hands on the last of my brother's killers. Not even an army of demons could have stopped me now.
So it's really nice to have shotguns for this section, so you don't have to reload, and they're very close range enemies.
Both Johnny Ringo and Jim Reed fell fairly quickly. But the last one, Roscoe Bob Bryant. That son of a bitch had managed to escape my vengeance.
I think I have that
time
problem
and time
figured
again.
out at this point.
I couldn't even be certain I'd recognize him after all those years. By now, he had to be close to 70.
For all you know, he could have been dead.
That thought had indeed crossed my mind, as did others. For instance, did my thirst for vengeance turn me into something worse
We
than
don't
the
get this, so
man
we
I
have to
was
go back a
after?
little bit.
By this point in my storied career, I had killed more men than Bob Bryant ever had. Nothing could stop me from taking his life. I've been after that killer forever. From the time I rode with Billy the Kid. But that chapter of my story you already know.
Chapter of that fairy tale, you mean?
Suddenly, it was 1910. There I was, an old man roaming a ghost town dead almost 2 decades. But I wasn't about to call it quits, even though the ghosts of my dead brothers were begging me
It's
to
another
do what
fight
I
that
started so long
has a
ago.
pretty high chance of me not making it all the way through in one try. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I did practice this a little bit
They were
recently.
after a treasure they had hidden before they fled, buried in a grave.
There's a lot of enemies, and
I intended to kill them.
very easy to die, because you're pretty much a sitting duck.
But like I said, the bandits knew I was on to them. They lured me in and hit me with everything they had.
Alright, I think it's gonna go pretty well, actually. So far, so good. I think that's everybody. Yeah, it should be good. Cool. It's gonna take the story a second to catch up.
But you obviously prevailed since you're sitting here telling us the tale.
Actually, in that moment...
So that's not actually
I
the hard
did not
fight sequence I was
prevail.
talking about. It's coming up in just a
So I
moment.
suppose we're talking to a ghost.
Funny you should put it like that, Jack. Because when I woke up,
From the dead?
there was silence all around me. I could swear to God I saw Billy then.
Billy who?
Billy, the kid. William Bonney. He was shooting at me from a rooftop. Here, and there, even over there.
So I am right. You are titched in the head.
Well, let me move my gun for a
Mr.
moment. That's
Greaves,
kind of weird.
perhaps we should switch you to coffee?
You see that old Indian again, too?
No, but I did see Billy's killer. I can't go again.
This is part of
came
the
at me
game
guns
where
a-blazing.
ghosts start spawning in.
But I knew that old war horse had died 2 years before. I wondered if maybe I was dead too and confronting the ghosts of my past. Perhaps all my sins were coming back to haunt me and drag me down to perdition. I saw Henry Plummer throw dynamite at me. But in the gates of the cemetery, I saw John Wesley Hart, just like I remember him.
Now we just have to
Robert
kill
Oliver
all the
appeared with
ghosts
his
of the people
terrible
that we've already
double-barrel
killed.
shotgun. No ghost army was stopping me.
My father-in-law got hit with a falling branch. He spent the rest of his life talking to dogs.
Newman Hayes Clanton, William Brocious, John Peters Ringo, they all wanted me
A
dead.
little bit early on the dynamite there.
The Dalton brothers, Robert and Grattan, guardians of the Garden of the Dead.
It's not really good to be out of concentration here because I'm going to need quite a bit of that coming up.
George Curry and Harvey Logan, alias Kid Curry.
Having
Both
no
thirsty
concentration for
vengeance
this
from
intense
the
kid is a
great beyond.
real pain. Remedy that situation.
Jesse, Woodson, James, and Jim Reed. Each one deader than the next. I thought I would go crazy.
And I pretty much just used up all my concentration. I'm gonna get away with it. Cool. That was lucky.
Finally, I saw Harry Alonzo Longo.
Okay.
The Sundance Kid?
Full concentration.
Like a general leading his
Oh.
legion of the dead.
Too close.
You told us before that you see alive.
He was alive.
Alright, there we go.
Then I heard a voice call
That's
to
the
me
best
from
I've ever done
afar.
that, so.
It was Robert Leroy Parker,
One more
AKA
duel.
Butch
We're pretty
Cassidy,
much done.
coming at me from out of the fog.
Thanks for taking care of that bastard.
So this duel is a little special. It's a Mexican showdown, as they like to call it. And you actually have to switch between the two enemies, depending on which one's looking at you to get your focus up. It's not really difficult, you just have to pay attention. A lot of keys to press.
But the kid wasn't quite deceased. Not yet.
Takes more than one little bullet to kill the likes of me, partner.
Those two looked like they hadn't seen each other for quite a while. Clearly, they were no longer amigos.
Shit. I was hoping I wouldn't have to kill you.
So time will be coming up after this mission, but it's not until a cutscene
I
after the
asked them
fight.
about
So
Bob Bryant,
still a little bit to go.
but they were too busy with their
Couple
own
minutes.
heated conversation.
Let me get this shit straight. You want my money and the love of my life?
You frittered it all away, Butch. Eda's mine. So is that damn money.
I didn't want to shoot anybody until I had an answer to my question, but those boys didn't give me much of a choice.
Alright, so Sundance is looking at us, that's good. Get some easy points. So basically whenever they look away, you just need to switch to the other. The other enemy. Oh, the focus is way down. It's not good. Oh, this should be fun. I missed my first shot. That was game over from there. Alright, take two. Getting high focus on this is rather annoying. Oh, there we
Butch
go.
Cassidy and the Sundance
I
Kid
grazed
died
his ear
there
and I
in
thought I
that
missed.
cemetery not
Let's do it
6
again.
months ago.
Wasn't bad. So that's the actual last fight we have to do in the game. At the end here in the cutscene, you can either choose to duel Bob,
Butch Cassidy and the
or you can
Sundance
leave him
Kid were
alone.
killed by the Bolivian army. Everybody
Which is
knows
faster.
that.
That's the legend, but it ain't the truth.
So, you never found Bob? There is no Bob. This old sumbitch ain't even Silas Greaves.
Sir, is that true? Have you been pulling our legs this whole time?
Well, not the whole time.
Oh, man, I think you've worn out your welcome here.
Maybe you're right, Jack. Maybe it's time to pay. You see, Ben, or should I say Bob, your past always catches up with you.
So we're gonna forgive him, which is gonna be faster.
I was a different man back then, crazy. Drinking,
Come up in a moment.
I've changed my ways, I swear to you. If I could turn back the clock,
But you can't, Bob.
There we go. That's time.
Why'd you toy with me like that? Telling those tales, knowing all along. Why not just lay your cards on the table?
Wanted to suss you out, Bob. See what kind of man you turned out to be. Maybe prod you into drawing on me. See, all those years on your trail turned me into a killer. Can't even remember who I was before you tried to murder me. You, on the other hand, walked that very same path in exactly the opposite direction.
What do you mean by that?
You think your life is worth sparing, Bob? Boy, what's your name again?
It's Eisenhower, sir. Dwight Eisenhower.
What do you plan to do with your life?
Seductive Spatula, can I get the time for that? I can't see the stream at the moment.
Tomorrow I'll be leaving for West Point, sir.
So, you want to be a soldier? Well, then do it right, son. Don't tear down the world out of anger and spite like I did.
133, so it's actually a personal best for me. There you guys
do
go.
something decent with your life. You hear me?
Sir?
My old personal best was a 138 before this.
I won't have it said I left you with nothing, Bob.
Judgy, watch your back. You're getting closer to your record, baby. Oh, yeah, so shout-outs to Judgy in chat. Definitely follow him and send him some love. He's the one that got me into running this game, and he's an awesome guy. Finds a lot of great tricks and glitches. If you want a game broken, send it to him. Give him a free copy, and I'm sure he'll find you something. Probably weapon swapping related, but yeah, I'm gonna bow out for the night. Did Bioshock 2 earlier. If you like that, you know, do it every now and then. Same for Call of Juarez. I'll be picking it up more often. And Saturday I'll be running Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, which is going to be at AGDQ. So it'll be pretty hype. Some awesome tricks in that. But stick around for the rest of the marathon because FPS are the best category of games. Alright. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Alright, so thanks to Blood Thunder for that Gunslinger run. I'm gonna quickly do this.